Alright guys, here we go. Final stage of the Tour de Zwift. Out in the UCI World's Harrogate Circuit, only 13.9 kilometers.
Right on!
Should be a fairly fun and snappy race. Got some pretty decent hitters in this one, and I can guarantee that the end will be entertaining for sure. For this event, I didn't realize I was moved up to the B category, so it'll end up being a DQ out of this event because I started it as a B category from Zwift Power. However, still a fun race and a really awesome course because it starts out with that kind of insidious 4% climb, flattens out for some rouleur type stuff, and then has a couple of punchy little kickers. But here we go. About 6 seconds to go, and should be an interesting race to watch here. Logged in early enough to get one of those frontline spots because I know that this pack's going to push out pretty quick here. One thing I wasn't thinking about right off the bat was the fact that we're going to make this right-hand turn, and then in about 1 or 2K we're going to be headed right up the hill, so potentially expending a little bit too much energy right here, trying to hang with these guys, more focused on the draft than actually thinking about the fact that we're about to start climbing here in a second, and that draft is going to be minimalized when we slow down. I am really enjoying this new TacX Neo 2T Smart Trainer, especially with the road replication function on it. And I think the power is a lot smoother. So my power matches my RPM a little bit more accurately on this trainer than on the wheel on Wahoo that I had previously. And here we go. Right up into this hill, kind of steadies out at 3-ish%, kicks a little bit to 4%, about halfway through the climb it's going to flatten out just a hair and then pitch back up to about 4%. I'm kind of grinding in here, just trying to hang behind these dudes. As you can see, the pack is getting pretty strung out at this point, which is indicative of having this climb right off the bat. Still holding 31 kph there, so almost 20 miles an hour and cruising pretty good up the hill with about 200, low 200s to mid 200s of power. So fairly above FTP at this point as I'm pedaling up the hill and trying to hang with the group, but keeping some good speed with this slight incline. Falling kind of back through the pack here. At the same time, I know you can see there's two riders that have gone way off the front there. Potentially some A or B riders. I did not do any research prior to this race. However, just looking to preserve energy as much as I can so that on the rest of the climb and then some of the attacks that are going to potentially happen later, I have that energy to resource. Starting to see that slope is about to flatten out. I was kind of disappointed I forgot to set up the profile on my computer like I typically like to do, just to see how much longer to the end of the climb, and then when the starts, the climbs or the descents are going to happen. Starting to flatten out, looking to grab a wheel. Get some recovery in, try and separate myself from the dudes back there at 7 and 8 seconds. There's a fair grouping about 5 seconds up ahead, but I don't think we're going to be able to bridge that gap, unfortunately, because they're probably going to end up walking away. We only have a group of 3 right here. I have seen Parfit on some of the other races. He's not a terrible rider, so I know that he can pull. However, I do not know about Lewis at this point. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I'm not strong enough to just sit out the front and pull the entire time, so I can only take short little bursts here. And using the drafting power up, you can guarantee that I'm not going to be pulling for you. I'd rather fall way behind the pace than have you recover that much. Alright, 4.2 kilometers into this bad journey. We're going to get the slight pitch up here for a little bit. And then like a fast 10 to 15% grade descent. Potentially good recovery spot. Got 2 additional groups that are pressing up pretty close behind, slightly larger groups as well, so potential for them to reel us in. Maybe we can blob it up and get cruising on this course. up with us. We got another group about 10 seconds behind as well. They'll probably reel us in here in a bit. But keep what we got. Don't want to let them catch us too quick. Make sure the guys are working just as hard. Pressing this small little hill. It's not too long of a climb. It's only about 3 to 4%. Kind of does the same thing as the first climb. It'll flatten out for a little bit and then pitch back up. I've been doing a couple of these little surges out front here, getting a 1 to 2 second gap, just to potentially put a little bit of stress on the group that I'm with, making sure they're not getting too comfortable at the same time. Give them that look of, hey, chase this, don't let this gap open up, to potentially stretch those legs a little more than they're willing to. Awesome, here comes this next group. Got a little bit of a downhill here and then a couple more rolling little climbs. So hopefully this doesn't just get stretched out. We can kind of blob it up here and make back some time on the front group. As you can see in the upper right hand corner of the profile view, you've got two dudes way out the front, already hunting for that KOM. Definitely putting down some big watts probably up there. Curious to see what kind of times they come up with in comparison to our times. But we're bobbing up nicely, coming down this descent. Potential for everyone to get a nice break, drop the heart rate back down, reduce the RPM a little bit. Get ready for the next steady climb. And here we go, up the KOM. Fair 6% grade. I think I cashed in a little bit too much on the initial look at this. I thought, 1.2k of climbing. Can I hold out in the mid 300s and just walk away? And I'm going to realize here shortly that that is not the case. And I'm going to have to ease up, letting some of these guys reel me in. Pretty fast cadence there. Potentially burning too much energy for the amount of watts I'm producing, but at the same time, just looking to get that heart rate under control. I am starting to see up in the upper right hand corner that 7. Looks like it's going to start to reduce here in a second. Get a little bit of a break. The rest of the group is about 1 to 2 seconds behind, if not coming up to catch, which is fine. At the same time, I don't want them to just flow right on through. pretty cashed in at this point, letting that head droop a little bit more than I normally would. Left shoulder starting to drop. Definitely getting tired. Only 8.4K in, and producing basically the low 200s on the watts. But somehow I've been forced up into the B group after the past race and this one, apparently, which is interesting. Got to get that vein mid wattage climb profile at 31st position at the time. However, I am seeing the KOM banner up there, which is pretty nice. Hoping to put down some watts to come into comparison with some of these guys that ranked in the top 20. But probably won't be able to truly generate what I need to. Third. Oh, and a feather power, thank God. As I passed through that first banner, I got the old XP boost, which is great, but at the same time, looking for something a little bit better to help me on this race. And with this next little kicker climb coming in before the sprint, I'll definitely be able to use that to my advantage. Grabbing on the back of this dude's wheel, hoping to just kind of take a breather, low wattage. I was pretty high on the heart rate in that climb, so hoping to get down to the mid 160s, if not the 150s, before going into this next climb. 9.9 kn, about 3.4, well, there it says right there, 3.9k left. Headed into the estate area. If you've ever done cadence work in the Duchy Estate area, definitely a good place to do some interval training for sure, with this little kicker of a climb and then the sprint finish. Alternate every other lap in this area, and it's just a constant loop. So last workout I did in this area was, I think, 12 loops, and then every other loop was in the 300 watt range, from the start of this climb to the finish of the sprint. Definitely a good place to work out and just kind of get some consistency, some good numbers just to hang your hat on, with constant gradients, so you can see yourself progress over time or digress over time. Alright, so after that climb, we're going to the descent here. I was trying to put a little bit better time on the group that I was just with. hoping to stretch it out so I could separate myself from them and just push to the finish and hold this 28th spot. Probably not going to reel in this Polish dude that's ahead of me at 15 seconds. And Grabowski is probably going to fall back. Yep, 5 to 6 seconds now. However, Gasser, Bacon, DeRosa, they're all pushing up, potentially to form a group. So, if you see in the upper right-hand corner there, the 2D view, you got those guys kind of grouping it up together. They're going to be generating way more speed than I am. I would have liked to have had an aero boost at this time to potentially just use that right away, cash it in, get more separation from these guys because they're working it right back in the 2 to 3 second range and closing. So they're probably going to catch me right here. We only have a few roller hills left, so I'm going to be looking to potentially throw that featherweight as soon as we get a little bit of a kick up with these dudes, and reel them back in, or use it to pass them. Now, granted, I don't want them to just fly on by here, so I'm going to cash in a little bit of extra energy to grab onto their wheel. There goes a featherweight, so I'm going to hopefully push through as this guy is Gasser is pushing forward here, not to let him get too far out the front. Grab it on this wheel, Grabowski, just kind of drop him back. Currently a 1 second gap. It looks like he's trying to grab onto my wheel. Definitely don't want to get dropped out of here with the next guy up at 12 seconds. And the next pack kind of back there. Well, it looks like Bacon is 13 seconds out on a solo move. And the next group back about 30 to 40 seconds. So we'll make this left-hand turn. It's going to start to pitch up here in a bit and push home to the finish. Doing pretty good on the speed. Below FTP. This is right where I want to be for this final part of the finish. I know the guys that I'm with right now are true like C group riders. So hopefully we can do the dance to the finish here. This last little kick up. I'm just going to hammer down as hard as I can. Try and create some separation. And push it into the finish. Floating at 3.3 watts per kilo, 4.2. Kind of in between the mid 3s and the mid 4s. I know Gasser is trying to reel it back in, however there's some serious separation developing. And I want to jump on the back of this guy's wheel, and if I can capitalize, pounce on this guy, so to speak, and take the win, or not the win, but the position over him. I'm going to try and drop my heart rate as much as I can. He's also easing a little bit here. Oh, there he goes, 5.4 watts per kilo. I'm pushing 7.2, can't let him go too far off the back. I've got the draft on. And he starts to even out right there, however, just pushing through with about 7.5, 8 watts per kilo. Oh, and the upgrade, nice. Alright, 27th. It's not too shabby. Prior to being DQ'd there. Pretty cashed in, as you can see I'm huffing and puffing. However, definitely a fun race. Looks like on Zwift power category it was 8th overall prior to being, or for the unfiltered results. Filtered, obviously I was removed from that one unknowingly. But pretty happy overall and stoked to be a part of this Tour de Zwift. Hope you guys enjoy the Tour de Zwift or this video. And if you're coming up for your stage 7 as well, good luck. Best wishes to you. See ya. Roll.